Hey, morning everybody. I wanted to do a review of dog balls. I know that a lot of you with breeds like mine, I have a long hair Weimaraner. They are just ecstatic for any type of ball. And over the years, he's 8 years old right now. Leo, come here, say hi, come here. This is my dog Leonidas. Over the years, I have been through many balls because he is also a chewer. So I've gone through, probably spent a few $100s on balls, whether they see if they hold up or whether he likes to fetch them or chew on them or whatnot. So today I'm going to be going over a couple things. I'll be going over durability. I'll be going over how easy they are to play fetch with, as well as if they live up to what they say or what they advertise, and also check to see if they how they float. I know that I've gone to a couple of aquatic dog parks because this guy loves the water, he loves to swim, and get out of the way. And thrown a couple balls in, and you know, these balls run anywhere from $4 to $10 each, and then you lose a $4 to $10 ball depending on what happens. So we'll go through those few things and come back at the end to talk about what we thought about all of them. Thanks. All right, so this is going to be the balls that we go over. There are two primary brands that I found to be the best so far. So if you're going with other brands, that's fine. This review is going to be over primarily Chew Kings and Chuckit. Those I have found have lasted over the years, and that's with chewing and everything else. My dog is super active, so yeah, these are the best two that have lasted the tell of time. So I'll start by going over a couple of these. So we're going to test the, and these are all medium size, by the way. I have larges, but we're just going to do medium. So this is the Chuckit Whistler. It's a medium sized ball. It's got the hole for, they say it helps them breathe, and it also has the smaller hole, which gives the whistle. This is the Chuckit. It's supposed to be like an easy breather type of fetch ball. Now this is just for fetch. It's supposed to help them breathe, and you do not want your dog chewing on this because he will, if he's a chewer, he will destroy this. So this is just for fetch. But he has chewed on the Whistlers, and they last very well. He has not been able to destroy one yet. This is also a Whistler. Now this is a Chuckit from they say it's from recycled plastic. It's like a rubber material, and it's supposed to be from recycled. I think it's the cheapest. It's called a Rebounce. It's the cheapest of the Chuckits that you can find. Then I have the Chuckit glow in the dark, as well as the Chuckit Erratic, and this is basically weird shaped or fun shaped, so it kind of goes all crazy when you throw it. Then I have the normal Chuckit tennis ball. I wanted to show a Nerf as well, because these things last about 3 games of fetch. The Nerf dog, they're pretty awful. They got a little squeaker. I don't like the squeakers because they're super annoying, and they also encourage your dog to chew them, which they don't last. So anyways, but I did want to show it just to show what I believe a brand that I don't approve looks like and feels like, and so on. Then the last couple Chuckits, this is their like original Chuckit ball. It's called the Ultra. It's pretty much all plastic. This one also does not last very long. My dog has chewed through these. I don't know if it's just the way that they're put together, but It's pretty hollow inside, and once he gets a good bite on it, it pretty much breaks. So now we'll talk about the Chew Kings. Oh, I forgot to mention. Oh, this is the Chuckit's Aquatic. That's one of their aquatic balls. This thing is awesome. It kind of throws, or when you throw it into the water, it'll stick up like a little duck. This one's supposed to be a duck. They have a shark. They have an alligator. They're pretty pricey. They're around $12, $13, even $14 for one of them. But they're awesome. I love them because you can check them and they'll sit right in the middle, you know, of a pond or whatnot. And they're good so that your dog can see them because they come out of the water. Anyways, next to the Chew Kings, so I have the Chew King glow-in-the-dark balls. Also the Breathe Right Chew Kings. They're also glow-in-the-dark as well. And their version of the Whistler, which is very similar, as you can see, to the Chuckit. Same size. They both feel the same. This one's got a little more grooves, but essentially they feel the same. The Chew King is smoother. And then this is supposed to be their Chew King, like ultra dense for really aggressive chewers. It's definitely heavier, which is cool because it throws further. I like that. And yeah, so now we will test to see how all of them float. I'll just be using my pool. All right, we're going to start with the Chew Kings. Now they do advertise that these float. Would you look at that? They actually do. I like that. Now watch, you'll see. So this is their versions of the Whistler. They do not advertise that they float. This is the Chew King's Whistler. But they do. Look at that. So that's awesome. Now I'll show you the Whistler for the Chuckit. These things sink. I have lost a few of them. And there they go. So pretty expensive ball, and it sinks. Not cool. This is also a Whistler. We'll try that as well. Here is the Chuckit that is made out of the recycled material. Also sinks pretty fast, which is a bummer. Let's try the larger Chew King. I think this is the extra large. This is the largest size you can get for the Chew King, which is pretty cool if you have a giant dog like a Saint Bernard or something. I'm really surprised that all of these float. That's pretty awesome. It's really cool that they do float. So that is a Chuckit. I forgot to mention that is a Chuckit Glow, and the Chuckit Glow looks like it does float. There is it side by side with the Chew Kings. So the Chuckit Glow does float. Let me get these before they run away and we'll finish up. Alright, got all those cleared out. Now we're going to resume with the Chuckit Erratic. See if this floats. And it does not. Let's try their Chuckit Ultra. Great. So the Chuckit Ultra does float. Now again, the Chuckit Ultra does float. However, those are prone to chewers getting a hole in them or chewing a hole in them, and then they will sink. Let's try the Chuckit Original Tennis Ball. Original Tennis Ball does float, which is awesome. Let's try the Chuckit Easy Breathe. That does as well. Let me grab that before it runs away. And let's try the Chew King's Ultra Chew. Well, that thing's dense. And here's the Chuckit Aquatics, these things are awesome. Like I said, that's my favorite aquatic toy because they just sit there and hang out. Really cool. And finally, we'll do the Nerf squeaker dog tennis ball. Also floats. Those things last, like I said, about 2 games of fetch for my dog because his jaws just chomp right through them easy. All right, so there you have it. Now we're going to go to the park and we're going to see how these things actually sling. All right, guys, so we're at the park now. I'll be using 2 different sizes of balls. I'll be using the larges, which are 3 inches, and the mediums, which are 2.5. Now that is the same dimensions whether you're using the Chuckit or the King Chew. I'm going to be using the Chuckit launchers because they are much better than the, in my opinion, than the King's launchers. So I'll be using a large and a medium. The first ball we're going to try is the medium King's Supreme, which is like the more durable one. Here it is right here. So we'll be using this. I'm going to do it about 3 times, and then I'll come back and talk about it at the end. Here we go. So as you can see, it did whistle, which is awesome because then your dog can find it through the air. Had a great density to it. I'm going to really try and launch it. That one hit probably center field. Leo, come on. All right. So next up, we're going to be using the Chew King Whistler. This is a lot lighter than the Chew King Supreme. I had noticed with the Supreme as well that it was so heavy that it didn't launch as far. We'll see if this does better. It hit about center field, so we'll do 3 of these as well. And it whistled very well. That felt much better than the Supreme. As you can see, that one launched much further as well. Next up is the Chuckit Whistler. So pretty much the Chuckit's version of that same ball. Feels about the same density. It's got a little bit different surface texture, so we'll see if that matters. So just off of that first one, it felt pretty much the same. I did notice that the whistle is not as loud as the Chew King, but we'll try with the next 2 throws. So it is about the same launch speed as, or it feels the same as far as launch and as far as distance, but the only difference that I did notice was the whistle is louder on the King, on the Chew King. All right, so next up is going to be the Chew King Glow in the Dark. They also advertise this as a whistler, so we will see. Come here, Leo. Leave it. Yeah, so I'm not hearing any whistle. It does launch similar to the Chuckit Whistler and the Chew King's Whistler, though. It's about the same density.
Oh, that, yeah.
So to confirm, there is no whistle. So we're going to try the Chuckit Glow in the Dark. I do not recall if this is advertised as a whistle either. It feels almost identical. It pretty much is identical, even the same texture and pattern as the King's. Come here. Leo, come. So, it's pretty much the exact same ball. Alright, so now up is the Chuckit glow-in-the-dark ball. So I did hear a small whistle on the Chuckit. Yep, so it did get a whistle in there. So that's definitely good for me. I'm actually very surprised that the Kings did not whistle. Again, it's got the same distance, same feel, same density as the others. This difference being that it glows in the dark, and in the Chuckit's case, it does whistle. We're gonna move on because Leo's getting tired. Leave it. Come here. So we're gonna move on to the Breathe Right. This is the Chuckit Breathe Right. Now this is considerably lighter than the other balls. We'll see if it travels well. I'm not expecting it to whistle. So the Chuckit Breathe Right. Here we go. So that one was considerably lighter. I could feel it during the throw. Kind of felt like I was throwing nothing. Didn't go as far. Had a higher hang time. But obviously, he's tired, so it's probably helping him breathe better. As far as all the other balls, this one definitely travels the least amount of distance compared to the rest. All right, next on the list is the Chuckit Rebounce. So this is the one that they claim is made out of recycled material. I like the feel of this. It's pretty much got the exact same feel as the Whistler. I do not know if it whistles. We will see. It's got about the same density. And here we go. That felt great. As far as pricing, Chuckits are about anywhere between like a third to like basically $2 to $4 more pricey than the Kings. So far it's pretty evenly matched, except for the Kings have they float, which is great. Most of them float, or a majority of them float, versus the Chuckits do not. Now this ball in particular, the Rebounce, which is made out of the recycled material, is the cheapest of all the Chuckit balls that have the breathing hole. There is another few Chuckits that are complete and do not have a breathing hole that are a little bit cheaper, a few cents cheaper. But if you did want to stick to a budget, this is definitely the best bang for your buck that I think. However, it doesn't whistle as loud. It's got a slight whistle. We'll try it one more time. Leo's getting tired. So it does have a slight whistle, which is good. Next we are going to do the final medium-sized ball, and we're going to use the Nerf Sports Squeaker. These are super cheap, and like I said, I don't like them at all because my dog can chew through them in about two to four fetches, or one full game of fetch. Here we go. Leo. All right, so there's nothing real special about that ball. Like I said, it doesn't hold up against the other brands, but if you want a cheap tennis ball, actually I think you can get any other tennis ball cheaper than these, because these are kind of name brand. I would go with those. Leo, come here. I would definitely stay away from this type of ball. Like I said, it's probably breaking down already. We're going to move on to the larger Chuckit and larger Kings. Alright, so we're going to start with the large Kings Breathe Right. This one did float. It does glow in the dark. We'll see. I don't think they say it whistles, but this is the large now. We're using the large Chuckit, which is the 3-inch diameter. The Chuckit and the Kings both have the same 3-inch diameter. We have about 5 balls to go through. I'm going to cut it back to 2 each because Leo's getting tired. Here we go. Now I know this is the lightest of all the balls, however, I did notice with the large Chuckit that I can't get the same distance that I do with the medium. I don't know if it's just the correct amount of size to distance ratio, but we'll try that one more time. So as you saw, that did not go that far. He even thought it was going to go further than it did. Next up, we're going to use the Chuckit Ultra large ball, 3-inch diameter. This one's got a good density to it. If you recall, I do not recommend these ones because he's able to chew through them pretty easily. Here we go. That one got some good distance on it. It's got a great density. Unfortunately, it doesn't whistle, so he may have trouble hearing it when he's sprinting or seeing it. Not seeing it, excuse me. It's got vibrant colors. But we'll do one more. All right, next up is going to be the original Chuckit tennis ball. These are pretty good tennis balls. They hold up really well. Definitely much better than the Nerf and other generic tennis balls. They still break down pretty easily, so I do not purchase them a lot. If you recall, they did float, so that's a plus. However, again, this typical ball will maybe last 4 to 5 games of fetch with me and Leo, and then if it's got a hole in it, it doesn't float. So there we go. So that tennis ball, like I say, is so-so. The distance is not anything incredible, but it's a good ball. I think their pricing is pretty fair as far as decent tennis balls. Next up is going to be the Chew King large size Whistler ball. Leo, come on, come here. This has got good density as well. Let's check it out. Very good distance on that one. It's got a slight whistle as well. So that was just a good solid overall ball. Like I said, good price, good distance, slight whistle. Next we're going to use the Chuckit Erratic. Now this is kind of weird. It goes all over the place, which is pretty cool, I guess. I don't like these. I kind of use them as a chew toy for him because they have weird edges, so he likes to chew on them. They're pretty durable. But the hard part about them is they're really weird to pick up, and they don't quite seat. And this is actually a Chuckit large trying to seat in a Chuckit large launcher. So they don't ever really seat in. You might be able to get them like perfect if you push it in like that. And even so, they come out really easy. So that's the reason I don't like these. I'm going to do it once because he's tired and I know he doesn't really care for these. But I'll do it just to show you guys what it looks like. Again, it's kind of hard to pick up. You got to play with it a little bit. And they're super dense, super heavy. Which again is the reason why I like to use them for chew toys. Ready? Look at that. And because it didn't seat well, it kind of overthrew, so it threw really high because I launched it too hard. So again, I don't really like those at all to play fetch with. I just kind of give it to him so he can chew them at the house. I won't be buying another one of those from Chuckit. And the last, I'm only going to do one of these as well because he's really tired and I want to keep this thing in as good shape as possible. This is the Chuckit Aquatic. Like I said, it's the most expensive ball I have. These run about 12 bucks, $12.99, depending on where you get them. I haven't been able to test the durability because I don't let him chew on it. As far as fetch goes and fetching in the water, works great. So I'll show you how well these launch. These obviously don't launch as well because they're not a complete circle or cylinder, but they do fine, and they do fine to launch in the water when he's ready to play. Leo, ready? Here we go. They still launch better than the Erratic as well as the Breathe Right. So, which is good. Alright guys, so there it is. That was a test of about 16 different balls. You got to see me talk about their durability, how they launched, how they feel, as well as how much my dog enjoys playing with them. So all in all, I'd say that Chuckits have always been great. The Kings are very, very similar in feel. The only difference is that you get more bang for your buck. So if you're not a name brand type person, I would probably go with the Kings. I do love Chuckit myself, and they have a great variety of products. Kings only has, I think, about a half a dozen variety of products. So this is pretty much it. They also have another floating toy that has like a type of covering over one of their rubber balls. And I didn't buy it because I didn't think that it would hold up. So again, all in all, they're very similar. Biggest difference being that some of the products from Kings can float. If you remember correctly, the Whistlers do not float for the Chuckit, but they do for the Kings. And then everything else is pretty similar except for the price, being that Kings is a bit cheaper. I hope you guys enjoyed today's review, and we'll see you next time. Take care.